Talk to me.
Information, news, and entertainment on demand.
WSRadio.com.
Accomplishment Coaching is proud to present the following fine programming. Accomplishment Coaching, where coaches lead and leaders coach. AccomplishmentCoaching.com.
Welcome to Leadership Insights Radio.
Thanks for listening in today. I'm Wade Taylor, and on today's show, this is part of our ongoing series, 2020 Business Vision, and we're talking to thought leaders about trends and forecasts for 2020, things that we need to be aware of. And I'm happy to be joined on today's show by Dr. Robert Singer. Robert Singer, MD, is a board-certified plastic surgeon here in La Jolla, California. He's been involved in the medical profession and plastic surgery since the 70s, so he's got a world of experience, has seen many things come and go as it pertains to trends, and I would say just a general awareness of lifestyle and health, I imagine, is much higher than it was back in the 70s. And you can learn more about him online. I encourage you to open up a browser window right now and go to rsingermd.com, and you can learn about everything that he's involved with and the critical changes that he's making in people's lives, because our outward appearance is a reflection of our health. Dr. Singer, again, I'm sure you've seen amazing changes occur both in the medical industry as well as the public's understanding of the importance of health and medicine. So welcome to the mic. Tell us a little bit about your background so we can understand your perspective and where the insights you're going to be sharing with us are coming from.
Well, it's a pleasure being here with you, Wade. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon. I did my training in Palo Alto at Stanford and also in Santa Barbara, and did my plastic surgery at Vanderbilt. Currently, I'm in private practice in La Jolla on the campus of Scripps Memorial Hospital in La Jolla. I'm a voluntary clinical professor of plastic surgery at University of California, San Diego, and I've been an examiner for the American Board of Plastic Surgery and been president of not only the California Society of Plastic Surgeons, but the most prestigious plastic surgery society called the Aesthetic Society, which is the American Society for Aesthetic Plastic Surgery. And I was also helped develop a lot of the standards and was president of quadruple ASF, which is the gold standard of accreditation of ambulatory surgical facilities. Also started the Emerging Trends Hot Topics Task Force for the two main plastic surgery societies, which looks at all the innovations, all the developments worldwide, and reports on safety and efficacy.
And so that's what makes you a perfect guest to be sharing insights with us today. You are trying to keep on top of trends, and obvious through that you are arms deep in the community as well as your own business practice. And let me do a quick shout out, and you're renowned within San Diego for your philanthropy. And so do you want to take a moment and shout out to some of the great organizations that you put your heart and soul in above and beyond your day-to-day work?
Well, my family, my spectacular wife Judith and my daughter Blair, we're committed to the idea of giving back. It makes your life better, it makes the community better. We've been involved in the San Diego Global Zoo, the Safari Park, the Symphony, the Humane Society, the library,
right.
a lot of the arts, with the idea that if we can make the community better and educate people about all of those things, it'll make all of our lives better.
Yeah, I love that you recognize we share this world. And we just want to make it a better world for everyone to live in, including those four-legged friends that we have.
You know, those four-legged friends that are in our house run our lives.
Yes. So I applaud you for all that. And again, I am so appreciative of you taking time out of your busy schedule to spend some time sharing with us. And so to jump right into the world of medicine, plastic surgery, overall health, beautification, we might throw in there. what are you seeing happening that we really need to be aware of to not just have on our radar, but possibly embrace?
Well, globally, you're seeing a far greater interest with more procedures. You see that not only here, but you see in every continent that I visit, and I lecture in a number of places. There's a greater interest in cosmetic medicine in the sense of not only the surgical portion, but the other aspect of looking, feeling better, feeling healthier. So it doesn't encompass just surgery. It's all the rest of the things about nutrition, skin care, avoidance of problems, and we can talk about some of those issues later. We're seeing an increase in every demographic of patients coming in. We're seeing younger patients. We're seeing patients, older patients, who want to continue to look vibrant and healthy. And it's interesting because I get a lot of patients who come in who are professionals or are involved in business, and they say, I'm getting older, and most of the people I deal with are younger. They don't relate to me if I look tired and old. I want to look more vibrant and healthier. So their motivation is different from some of the patients who are younger who come in to have procedures. It's important, whatever their motivation, it be realistic. They do it for themselves, and then they understand the ramifications and the limitations of any procedure.
Right. And people are living longer these days. Yep. So when we talk about the older patient, and let me say we're living longer, but we're looking pretty good because, as you mentioned, people are taking a holistic approach to health, and they're understanding hydration, diet, nutrition. And so I imagine when these people are coming in, it's not like dramatic makeover. It's probably just fine-tuning some things.
One of the advances that we're seeing is improvement in modification and refinement of procedures. That's an ongoing process. There's not a procedure I do today that's exactly the way I did it 5-10 years ago. If so, you should stop doing it.
Right.
Because there are advances. But the key thing that I see, most patients who come in to see me want to look natural. They want to look fresher. They want to look better. They don't want to look overoperated. They don't want to look frozen. They don't want to look like something that you see on some of the tabloids or in social media. That's the end of the bell-shaped curve.
Right. Kenny Rogers comes to mind. Beautiful singer, but he went a little too far, I think, that some of what he's had done. So just like you said, taking a slight change, just kind of fine-tuning some things. And we've got a lot to cover, and time is racing by. But is there just quickly a procedure that person in their 60s, 70s, 80s might, a little thing that can help a lot that you'd like to make them aware of?
Well, I think that the most important thing to realize is that there is no one approach.
Okay.
The key thing, the best thing that's happened in the last 20 years is the concept of individualization, assessing the patient and finding the right procedures for the patient. Unfortunately, a lot of practices that are market-driven have limited technology or limited ability, and they try to fit the patient into what they have available rather than having everything available and finding the right approach for the patient. It may be a non-surgical procedure. It may be a combination of surgery and non-surgery. It may be surgery. And it may be that patient shouldn't have anything.
All right. Oh, well, very good. And I love hearing the opt-out option from a doctor. And so again, let me encourage you to take a look at rsingermd.com if you want to see what everything encompasses. Now, what are some other things that you feel are really important for us to be aware of, both to look further into as well as there might be some cautionary tales?
Well, let's hold off on the cautionary tale because I think that's critical. But one of the trends we're seeing now are younger patients coming in for what's called neuromodulators, Botox, Dysport. We find that patients who start earlier with that avoid the progression of the lines if they keep that up.
Okay.
We find that there are increasing number of patients coming in for fat injections, for fillers There are synthetic fillers that are temporary, which are terrific. There are some synthetic fillers that are permanent, but they have permanent problems, and I would caution against using those. One of the best fillers is fat. It's your own. You can't be allergic to it.
Right.
You don't reject it, and 30 to 50% of that stays permanently. So eventually it becomes more cost effective than some of the synthetic fillers. We're also seeing a combination of using fillers or fat with surgical procedures to give a natural look so it doesn't look overpulled. Contemporary good procedures take away the excess but add where there's a deficiency, and it's that balance which gives a natural result. We're seeing a new technology, which is very recent, called M-Sculpt. M-Sculpt, in the past we've had technologies to get diminished fat, either surgically or non-surgically. M-Sculpt works a little differently. It works on the underlying muscle, toning the muscle either on the arms, the legs, the abdomen, or raising and tightening the buttock muscles. And that uses electronic or an electromagnetic technology. So you come in 30 minutes, it stimulates the muscle and contracts it 20,000 times.
Holy cow.
You can't do that in a gym.
Right.
And the other thing is, even when you're doing like crunches, you only use part of the muscle. This stimulates the whole muscle. So course of maybe 4 treatments, 2 a week over a couple weeks, you increase, the scientific studies have shown you increase the muscle mass by about 16%, and the fat reduction by 16 to 19%.
Wow. So,
and then if you keep it up, it maintains that.
Right. It's kind of like isometric exercise taken to the 21st century.
Exactly. And not only females, but a lot of males who say, I don't want to spend all that time in the gym, or I don't have that time. Is there a method that I can achieve some of that?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of professionals out there that are grinding away 16-hour days.
Yeah.
And they need something quick yet effective. So
I think we can both relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. And so that is amazing. I do feel like we're starting to live in the world of the future with, the technological changes. What other things do you want to bring to our attention?
Well, one of the other things that's a lot of buzz about, both good and bad, are cellular therapies, rejuvenation, and concept of stem cells. That's sort of the Wild West frontier. There are a lot of claims. There's very little science right now. I have been involved in actually testifying at the FDA and recommending that they enforce their guidelines, because a lot of people are being taken advantage of by marketeers who don't have any scientific data. Now, I think it's important that we may see some real advances with that in the future, but right now the marketing is ahead of the science.
Oh.
So we've urged the FDA, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Right.
Enforce the rules, make sure that these further studies are done under proper protocols and research, and then once there is validated data, then it should go to the public. It shouldn't be the other way around, because there can be some harm done with that. The other thing, besides the stem cells, are other cellular therapies that are being really promoted without any validity. PRP, some of the other things called exozymes, all of these things are being used with the idea that they're the products of your own body and they can stimulate rejuvenation. That may be the case, but we haven't proven that yet.
So they're getting a little ahead of their skis with all the excitement. They'll get a taste of something, with potential, and kind of rush a little bit too quickly into it. And, let me apologize from the world of marketers. Sorry we get carried away and kind of overblow things. But that's why we've got smart people like you to kind of pull us a little bit back and say, hey, let's follow the science, not as much the exuberance.
That's the importance. And, patients increasingly go to social media. Mm-hmm. There's no filter on social media.
Right.
So there is no guidelines of what's valid and what's not. And some of the greatest influencers on social media when it comes to plastic surgery aren't plastic surgeons. They may have had no training at all, but they're brilliant marketers.
That is amazing that somebody without the medical background would be offering what has the appearance of medical advice, right? So again, I encourage you to go to rsingermd.com if you want to find the truth, if you want to find out what is truly possible. And I loved what you said a little bit earlier. It reminds me of how we deal with audio, as we're fixing it. First thing you do is remove the problems. And then you go in and see what you can make improvements on. And so you're not just going in there like a bulldozer and saying we're just going to kind of level everything and build from the ground up. It's like we've got something beautiful here already. Let's just make some fine adjustments.
I think the public has to understand there's no eraser on the end of a scalpel.
Oh, right.
So
Good
you
point.
need to find the most qualified individual, someone who will listen to your problems and try to solve your issues, not their issues and what they have available to sell you. On the other hand, I would say don't shop for bargains on your face and body. Shop for them on your T-shirts or sandals. This is not a commodity like buying something on the web. The most important thing is your health and your safety. So you need to look at credentials. There are a lot of false boards.
Okay.
You need to look at a board from the American Board of Plastic Surgery. There are no boards recognized in California with the word cosmetic in it.
Interesting. Okay, so that's a flag. And you just said the American Board of Plastic Surgery.
Yes.
So that's the gold standard.
Yes. The other thing is if you're going to have a procedure done, make sure it's done in the proper accredited facility. You want a facility, a surgical facility, if you're going to have a procedure that's accredited by one of the national accrediting organizations. The gold standard of that is AAAASF, quadruple ASF. The unfortunate thing is only 27 states actually require any oversight of a surgical, office-based surgical facility. That's criminal.
That's criminal.
Yeah. California does, but there are a lot of people who've tried to skirt that by saying, we'll only do this under local anesthesia. Well, they may only be doing it under local anesthesia because they can't get it accredited and their facility is inadequate and doesn't have proper safety precautions. So would I have any member of my family have a procedure like that in a facility that wasn't accredited? No. So those are some of the things that you need to do. You need to look at do your homework.
Uh-huh.
You need to think about, is this in my best interest? But you need to know not only what are the upsides, what are the potential problems? What's the period of recovery? Is it a non-surgical, which still may have, non-surgical doesn't mean non-medical. There still may be problems. And that's one of the dangers we're seeing. We're seeing an increasing number of people who end up going to, quote, Botox parties.
Oh, that's crazy.
Being done in a facility that's not sterile, without proper guidelines, without privacy, and who knows who's giving you those injections. We're also seeing that done in spas and facilities, healthcare facilities that have no real medical oversight, or the doctor who oversees them, his background or her background may be in general medicine. It may be in pulmonology. They may not have any background in plastic surgery.
Right. And yet they think I can poke a needle in somebody. I've got it covered. So great advice. Check certification. Be aware if they only do local anesthetic, that could be a red flag.
But there are many procedures that I do under local, but I do them in an accredited facility.
Right. In terms of the facility itself. Now we're down to several minutes. And so just as time is racing by, what else do you want us to be aware of, either things to look into or cautionary tales?
Well, I think that skincare plays a role. Certainly in California, we're out in the sun. I don't necessarily follow all of my advice because I'm active outside. You want to use skincare. You want to use sun. Well, there's no really sunblock, but there are some screening agents. You want to avoid excesses of weight loss, weight gain, alcohol. Don't smoke. It's really an ager, and it causes other medical problems. Realize that there are no products that come in a bottle or topically that have been proven to change and reduce and rejuvenate skin sag.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that way.
Okay.
There are limits of technologies that claim to tighten skin. Once you get to a point that it's excessive, non-surgical may not be the answer. Do your homework and look at good resources. Go to the Aesthetic Society, the American Society for Aesthetic Plastic Surgery. Look on their website. They'll have a lot of valid information. Look at New Beauty Magazine, has a lot of valid, good information about what's real, what's not, what's coming. Not everything new is better. Not everything new is safe. Not
Right.
everything new is even as good as what exists. On the other hand, I think that we always need to look at innovation and see what's coming along, but that needs to be coupled with what's the valid scientific information so the patients understand, is this hype and spin, or is there really some promise in this?
Right. If it's new by definition, it doesn't have a track record.
Yeah, but there's some of the new things that are out there that do have some valid science.
But we should move with caution.
Always.
Alrighty. And with some great advice from a professional like Dr. Robert Singer, who, again, you've seen many things come, many things be improved, and there's probably some practices that have fallen by the wayside that you're kind of happy people don't do that anymore.
You know, it's interesting. I started the Emerging Trends Hot Topics Task Force for Plastic Surgery, and looking back at all of the things that were promised as the magic and the new and the hottest, and we've done a summary of those. It's fascinating how many don't pan out. Things like promised, like thread lifts, things like non-surgical tightening of breasts and buttocks, things like breast augmentation without surgery, without implants, magic non-surgical facelifts. You know, there's a role for some minor modifications, but most of those things that are hyped as lunchtime facelift, magic cure, turning back the clock in 20 minutes, they don't exist.
Right. As far as I know, magic doesn't really exist. So with just about a minute for each, is there something that you would encourage people as regards this to stop doing in 2020? And is there something quickly that you would have them start doing?
Well, I would start looking at your overall health, your well-being, your lifestyle, your involvement in the community, and ultimately your happiness with your family. The things I would avoid doing is I would avoid anything in excess, whether surgery, I've operated on supermodels, I've operated on a lot of celebrities. They don't necessarily look in real life the way they do with their filters on their pages.
Oh, right.
The other thing is that exercise is great. I believe in it. I do it. Over-exercise may make you feel better, but ages you.
Interesting. Just to stress on the body. And
not only that, but you lose volume, you lose elasticity, you feel good, and you look much older. So there's a balance in everything.
Right. Well, and that's great advice. And I would imagine you're a fan of hydration.
Yes.
All right.
I wish I would listen more to my wife about yelling at me about stay hydrated more. One of the side effects of non-hydration, is greater aging, plus things like kidney stones and other problems. So stay hydrated.
Yeah, well, very good. And I'm just going to kind of throw this out there as part of our conversation because you mentioned smoking. And to the young people out there, when you get to be my age, okay, I'm late 50s and such, and you look at your peers, it is obvious who the smokers are versus the non-smokers.
And that's smoking anything, vaping or anything else. Those tars, the smoke, have an aging process.
Exactly. So, just words of wisdom from somebody that knows a little myself, as well as somebody that knows quite a bit. And again, I am speaking with Dr. Robert Singer, MD. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon here in La Jolla, California. And I encourage you to look up everything he's doing at singermd.com. I love that you make that easy for people like me that, sometimes are easily confused. So, great information today. We'll be back with more here on Leadership's Insights Radio, 2020 Business Vision, all of it powered by WSRadio.com. We are the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
The National Academy of Distinguished Neutrals is an invitation-only association of over 700 of America's premier civil trial mediators and arbitrators, as rated by local litigators. The Academy's website is an invaluable resource. Firms can search for a neutral by case experience or region, and even check available dates for local mediators and arbitrators online for free. No referral or admin fees. Please visit the Academy at nadn.org today for more information.
Do you want to be a professional coach? Are you in business trying to make a real difference with people you manage or work with? Have you started a coaching practice that isn't quite getting off the ground? Get the skills you need to be a successful coach today with the Coaches Training Program from Accomplishment Coaching. The Coaches Training Program will show you how to help others focus and be more fulfilled. Whether you want to improve your company's bottom line or create a thriving coaching practice, Accomplishment Coaching can give you the distinctions and practices you need to coach others effectively today. Accomplishment Coaching has spent 6 years developing a cutting-edge coaches training program that will have you ready to coach people professionally in just 12 months, and you don't have to take time off work to do it. To find out more about the Coaches Training Program, just call 1-888-548-6813. That's 1-888-548-6813.
Tired of presentations with no impact, no inspiration, and no traction? Do dull speakers have you and your team disengaged and distracted by smartphones? Christopher McAuliffe brings energy, insights, and 2 decades of experience, delivered with punch, humor, and heart. Your team will leave energized, uplifted, and with a sense of purpose. Visit ChristopherMcAuliffe.com to bring some heat to your next speaking engagement. McAuliffe. ChristopherMcAuliffe.com.
You've heard me talking about Progressive Medical Center. They have helped me feel my best. And Dr. Gully, tell us a little bit about integrative medicine. Why is that such a big deal at Progressive Medical Center, and how can that make me feel better?
Integrative medicine is just good medicine. It's combining the best of traditional medicine, nutritional medicine, natural medicine, and really helping the patient get to the root cause so they can take control of their health and really make an impact to improve not only their energy, their vitality, and just their overall outlook on their health and their life.
I procrastinated for a long time before I finally made an appointment. So why should someone not delay and go ahead and get set up and come see you guys?
Any journey begins with that first step, and that first step means making a decision to recognize that there's something wrong with you. Whether you have fatigue, inappropriate weight gain, not sleeping well, not concentrating, all of these issues, you can get to the root cause.
So many of us here at The Fish have gotten help from Progressive Medical Center. So why don't you find out more from them today? Go to ProgressiveMedicalCenter.com.
This is your life, live it well.